For those of you that are coming to the Level Up Business Conference this Saturday, I look forward to seeing all of you. It's going to be a phenomenal event, empowerment plus education. You're going to be able to walk away with strategy steps so you can go immediately into implementation mode, okay? It's all going down Saturday. Doors open up at 10 a.m. We have several speakers, several breakout sessions. Something for everybody. We have some of our youth entrepreneurs that's going to be there on this Saturday. And it's something you don't want to miss. For those of you that have already registered, so glad you did. For those that didn't get a chance to, we will be having follow-up events, so stay plugged to the next one that we will be announcing shortly after this past Saturday. What are we talking about tonight? Tonight, we're talking about legacy. Legacy. What is legacy? What is building a legacy? What does legacy mean to you? Right? So when we think about the word legacy, legacy is the long-lasting impact of particular events or actions that took place in the past or is taking place now in a person's life. So when I looked at the definition of legacy, again, it talked about the lasting impact of particular events or actions in the past or in a person's present. The definition went on to say the definition of legacy is something that is passed on. What are you passing on to the next generation? What are you passing on in this present week? Saturday, when we all get together, we're going to be sharing and exchanging legacy wisdom. Exchange is going to happen on this Saturday at the Level Up Business Conference. What are you passing on to the next generation? The definition went on to say legacy can take on many different forms. A legacy may be of one's faith, ethics, or core values. It went on to say a legacy may be monetary or it can be considered an asset. What assets do you have in your life? For those of you that follow this podcast, know that a couple Tuesdays ago, we had someone on, Miss Micah Coleman, and she was talking about real estate investing. For those of you that want to start acquiring assets, what properties do you own? Do you own any land? Land is an asset as well. The definition of legacy went on to say a legacy may come from one's character, reputation, and the life you lead. So when we talk about legacy, it's not only about money. It is about your character. It is about your reputation, and it is about the life you lead. And it went on to say setting an example for others and to guide their futures, right? What does it mean to leave a legacy? So if you're thinking right now, listen, I'm not just here in this world to just be here. I know I'm here for a purpose, for a reason, and I am going to leave a legacy. I'm going to leave my handprint in this world. It went on to say the definition is of a lasting legacy is the positive impact your life has on other people. Who are you impacting? It went on to say impacting friends, colleagues, or even strangers you may meet in passing. Gas station, grocery store, wherever you may go, anywhere your feet take you, how are you making an impact in that particular space? When you think about legacy, your legacy is the sum of the personal values, your accomplishments, and actions that resonate with the people around you. Why are people attracted to you? Why are people drawn to you? Are they drawn to you? And if so, why? What value are you bringing to the table? Because I'm quite sure you have value on the inside of you, but you have to understand the value that you carry. Some of us are walking around with our head down because we don't recognize our value. So I encourage you right now, if you're one of those individuals saying, I'm not really sure who I am, I'm not really sure of my value, I'm not really sure of my purpose, therefore I don't even think I'm going to leave a legacy. I want you to look again. Look at yourself again. Think about the qualities that's on the inside of you and the things that separate you from anyone else, that unique thing about yourself. So when we think about legacy, a legacy is something that can be transmitted by or received from an ancestor or a predecessor. So again, when I'm looking up the definition of legacy, that's another way it was written in terms of defining what legacy is. I'm going to say it again. A legacy is something transmitted or received by an ancestor or predecessor. See, as we grow through life, as we grow and go through life, right, we're going to be on both sides of the fence. At some point, we're going to become an ancestor to these young people. They're going to look at us and they're like, oh my gosh, they've paved the way. We're a predecessor. We're paving the way for someone, for a group of people. We are to be transmitting something, transmit, to transfer or receive. And it's mutual. There's also always are supposed to be a transmission and a receiving. Transmission and receiving. That is what legacy is all about. What is your legacy? Everything that I do, I think about legacy. Everything that I do, I think about legacy, because I understand the value and the power of legacy. The definition went on to say, your legacy is the total of your life experiences, your beliefs, your values, and your traditions passed down from one generation to the next, generation to generation. It is good. Sometimes it's not so good. It's challenging moments. And we have to understand that everything that makes us who we are is that legacy. What is your handprint that you want to leave in this world? And we don't have to just be talking about when you've passed away. While you're yet living, you can be a living, breathing, walking billboard, living, breathing, walking legacy every single day. Wherever you go, when you go in a room and after you've left, what legacy did you leave behind in that room? What energy did you leave behind in that room? What kind of deposit did you leave behind in that room? Leaving a legacy means giving something that will be valued and treasured by those who survive you after you've transitioned on. Transition on. In this context that I'm speaking on tonight is not only death, although legacy oftentimes is equated with once you passed away. But I'm talking about legacy also. Let's say you had an opportunity to go speak somewhere. You had an opportunity to go expand your business in a market or a region. After you've left that region, after you've left that room, maybe you were speaking, what legacy did you leave behind? We have to remember that every time we go somewhere, what are we bringing to that space? And what are we leaving in that space? It requires thought to ensure that any items that have been meaningful to you is being designated or someone is going to inherit that. Now, that's after someone has technically transitioned on. Who do you want to inherit all the things that you're building and working on? Some of you are entrepreneurs. You're building these wonderful businesses. Well, who's going to inherit that business? Do you have it written in a will? Do you have it, set up so a succession plan when you do transition, ultimately, who's going to inherit the business? So I was looking up different quotes. Anyone who knows me know I love quotes. And I came across a statement and it said, invest in people. And then it just said why with a question mark. And then it said, because success without a successor is failure. Invest in people. Why? Because success without a successor is failure. Who is going to come up after you? Even if you're in a room, even if you're in a space and you've done something magnificent in that space, who is coming up after you to continue to blaze that trail? There's a quote by Tina Turner that says, my legacy is that I stayed on course from the beginning to the end because I believed in something inside of me. And all of us know the story of Miss Tina Turner. We've probably all seen the movie. We know she went through so many challenging moments in her life. So when I saw this quote, and I'm going to say it again, my legacy is that I stayed the course from the beginning to the end because I believed in something inside of myself. All that she went through, for those of you that know her story, many of us do because of the movie that was produced. But she stayed the course. Stay the course. No matter the ups and downs, the peaks, the valleys, the challenges, the U-turns, the detours, stay the course. There's another quote by Vitor Belfort that says, legacy is not what I did for myself. It's what I'm doing for the next generation. What are you doing for the next generation? There's another quote that says, every person has a legacy. You may not know what your impact is, and it may not be something that you can write on your tombstone. But every person has an impact in this world. And that's a quote by Dara Horn. Every person has a legacy. And it said, which was interesting, you may not know what your impact is going to be. Because see, sometimes I think, second guess ourselves. And that's sometimes why we don't step out there and fulfill our purpose or do our calling and just go out there and fulfill the purpose. Because we question, is it going to make an impact? We can't worry about that. If you know you're coming from an honest space and you're coming from a genuine space and you're passionate about what you do, go and do it. And it will 100% of the time make an impact. because you came from a genuine space. But if you overthink things and never step out there to fulfill your legacy because you're worrying about what is the impact or what will the impact be, you will never step out because you will continue to second guess yourself. And the quote went on to say, it may not be something that you can write on your tombstone. Maybe it's not going to be something that's going to catch a lot of fanfare or a lot of notoriety, but you and your circle of influence, you and the people that you're directly supposed to make an impact, that's what matters. But every person has and will make an impact in this world. Another quote says, a legacy for me is being a piece of soundtrack of someone's life. That caught me when I read that. And that's by Brett Eldridge. And I'm going to say it again, a legacy for me, and this is in their words, a legacy for me is being a piece of the soundtrack of someone's life. Who is listening to you? Who will listen to you later? What will your soundtrack sound like? What will it sound like? Right? Another quote says, we build our legacy piece by piece, and maybe the whole world will remember you, or maybe just a couple of people. But you do what you can to make sure you're still around after they're gone. And again, that's even if you went to an event and you were doing whatever you was asked to do at that event. Maybe you was asked to host the event. Maybe you was asked just to be a volunteer at that event. Whatever your capacity was, after you've left that space in that room, what legacy did you leave behind? We build our legacy piece by piece, and that's how the quote starts. Piece by piece by piece. And that is a quote by David Lowery. There's another quote that says, our deep respect for the land and its harvest is the legacy of our generation of farmers who put food on our tables, preserved our landscape, and inspired us with a powerful work ethic. And that is a quote by James H. Douglas Jr. I'm going to read that quote again. It says, our deep respect for the land and its harvest is the legacy of generations of farmers who put food on our tables, preserved our landscape, and inspired us with a powerful work ethic. So when we think about individuals that are farmers, even to present day, that sustains us, it gives us life. Farmers is always leaving legacy. Every time we sit at a dinner table and we're able to eat food, we got to think about the farmers when we're eating our vegetables, when we're eating things that's going to sustain us and strengthen us. Farmers is a perpetual person or a body of people that's constantly leaving legacy. And then when I saw that quote, I started to think about my grandfather, who's passed away, obviously, at this point. But he was from Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and he was a farmer. And then from being a farmer, I have an old picture of him standing in front of this building called the Royal Crown Cafe. It was a house that he converted into a cafe, which was his own business. And this picture that I have, it had to be somewhere between the 1930s and the 1940s. And when I look at that picture, I see legacy. When I look at that picture, even for those that come here to my studio, I always tell you that story because when you look at the picture, I often tell anyone that comes here to continue to build. Don't stop digging. They built that house from the ground up and turned it into a cafe. Sometimes you got to build from the ground up. And sometimes you may not have a lot of resources, but use what you have. My grandfather came from a lineage of farmers, and from his farming days, he then gained the knowledge on how to establish his own cafe. That's legacy to me. What are you establishing in your community? What are you establishing in your family? What are you establishing in your business? What are you establishing at the place where you work at? Right? What are you establishing? What are you building from ground up? And I want to talk about building from the ground up for a second. Because sometimes you're building a business and it's nothing but dirt. You haven't even broke the foundation to start building the house of your business. It's just dirt all around you. And I want to speak to those people that all you see is the dirt. It's going to take the dirt to build the foundation. Even like a farmer, when they're farming and they're planting the seeds in the ground, when the seeds go in the ground, you can no longer see the seed because it's covered by the dirt.